Today our topic is the Stoic strategy for dealing with enemies. Life is full of challenges, and one of the most difficult challenges we face is dealing with people who seem to be against us. These people could be anyone, a coworker who tries to make your job harder, a neighbor who spreads rumors about you, or even a family member who always seems to criticize you. It's natural to feel angry, hurt, or frustrated when someone treats you badly. But the Stoics, ancient philosophers who taught us how to live a good life, had a different way of thinking about enemies. They believed that the way we respond to difficult people says more about us than it does about them. Let's explore the Stoic strategy for dealing with enemies, and how it can help us live a more peaceful and meaningful life. First, the Stoics remind us that we cannot control other people's actions, but we can control our own reactions. This is one of the most important ideas in Stoicism. Think about it. If someone insults you or tries to harm you, you can't stop them from doing it. But you can choose how you respond. You can get angry and shout back, or you can stay calm and think about the situation. The Stoics believe that staying calm and rational is always the better choice. Why? Because when you lose your temper, you give the other person power over you. They control your emotions, and that's exactly what they want. But if you stay calm, you take back that power. You show that their words or actions don't have the power to hurt you. This doesn't mean you ignore what they do, it just means you don't let it upset you. Next, the Stoics teach us to see our enemies as teachers. This might sound strange, but think about it. When someone challenges you or treats you badly, they give you an opportunity to practice patience, self-control, and forgiveness. These are all qualities that make us stronger and better people. Without challenges, we would never grow. For example, if someone is always rude to you, you can use that situation to practice staying calm and kind. Every time you respond with patience instead of anger, you become a little stronger. The Stoics believed that every difficult person in our lives is like a teacher who helps us grow. Instead of seeing them as enemies, we can see them as opportunities to become better. Another important Stoic idea is to focus on what is within your control. When someone is against you, it's easy to waste a lot of time and energy thinking about what they did or said. But the Stoics remind us that we can't change other people. We can only change ourselves. So instead of worrying about what your enemy is doing, focus on what you can do. For example, if someone spreads lies about you, you can't stop them from talking, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to live honestly and let your actions speak for themselves. Over time, people will see the truth. The Stoics believed that the best way to deal with enemies is to focus on being the best version of yourself. When you do that, you take away their power to hurt you. The Stoics also teach us to practice empathy. This means trying to understand why someone is acting like an enemy. Often people who are rude or mean are struggling with their own problems. Maybe they are unhappy, insecure, or afraid. When we understand this, it's easier to feel compassion for them instead of anger. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil." In other words, people who act badly are often confused or misguided. They don't know how to live a good life, and that's why they act the way they do. When we see this, it's easier to forgive them and let go of our anger. Forgiveness is another key part of the Stoic strategy for dealing with enemies. The Stoics believe that holding on to anger and resentment only hurts us, not the other person. When we refuse to forgive, we carry a heavy burden in our hearts. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. Forgiveness doesn't mean we forget what happened or let the person hurt us again. It just means we choose to let go of our anger so we can move on with our lives. The Stoics believe that forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, not the other person. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the pain of the past and open our hearts to peace and happiness. The Stoics also remind us that nothing lasts forever. This includes difficult people and situations. When you're dealing with an enemy, it's easy to feel like the problem will never end. But the Stoics teach us to remember that everything in life is temporary. The person who is causing you trouble today may not be in your life tomorrow. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Remember that you are an actor in a play, and the play is the will of God, short if he wants it short, long if he wants it long. If he wants you to play the part of a poor person, play it well. If he wants you to play the part of a rich person, play it well. If he wants you to play the part of someone who is insulted or beaten, play that part well too." In other words, life is full of different roles, and we don't always get to choose them. But we can choose how we play our part. When we remember that difficult situations are temporary, it's easier to stay calm and patient. Finally, the Stoics teach us to focus on the bigger picture. When we're dealing with an enemy, it's easy to get caught up in the moment and lose sight of what really matters. But the Stoics remind us that life is short, and we should spend our time on things that are truly important. Instead of wasting energy on anger and revenge, we should focus on living a good life and helping others. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "Life is long if you know how to use it." This means that when we focus on what really matters, we can make the most of our time and live a fulfilling life. When we let go of anger and focus on the bigger picture, we find peace and happiness. In conclusion, the Stoic strategy for dealing with enemies is about staying calm, practicing empathy, focusing on what we can control, and remembering that nothing lasts forever. It's not always easy, but it's the best way to live a peaceful and meaningful life. When we follow these Stoic principles, we take away the power of our enemies and become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate people. So, the next time you face a difficult person, remember the Stoic strategy. Stay calm, see them as a teacher, and focus on being the best version of yourself. In the end, the way you respond to your enemies says more about you than it does about them. And when you respond with patience, kindness, and wisdom, you win.